Hello students, Mr. Young here. Short lesson today. Oh yes, we already covered a lot of this. So, we covered Hinduism in detail. You may remember it is a fluid religion with no specific founder, but many contributors over the ages. There are many gods, and they believe in a ladder-like cycle of reincarnation. Basically, if you follow your dharma, or your duty, you get to be reborn as a person of a higher social class. We learned in the last lesson about the caste system, so this religion really facilitated that system. Yeah, you get reborn as a person of higher class. Eventually, after many cycles of rebirth, you get to become one with Brahma, the creator. For a more specific recap, we visit our lesson on Hinduism right here. Buddhism. We also covered Buddhism in great detail. An Indian prince named Siddhartha meditated under a fig tree for 40 days and became the enlightened one, or Buddha. And he went on to go teach the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, practicing things like non-violence and letting go of your worldly desires, stuff like that. They also believed in reincarnation, but they thought that you didn't have to, there was no like ladder of success. You could just you could reach nirvana. Alright, on to the new stuff. Jainism is a fascinating little religion. There's not too much information on it in the book. A couple paragraphs really. But it was founded by a fellow much like Siddhartha. This fellow's name, though, was Mahavira. He was also royalty, and in his late 20s, his parents died, and he basically renounced all his goods, giving them all away, and left to go fulfill a higher purpose, and he ended up founding Jainism. He basically lived in poverty on purpose, begging for food, and he became what is called the Ch9, or the conqueror, or the hero. There's a story about that, about him beating up a demon. You can go do a little more research on it. There's some good YouTube videos. But he now practiced this this religion he basically created, Jainism. The followers are called the Jains. He himself is called the Ch9. Like Buddhists, the main tenet is to stop desiring worldly things, and also non-violence towards any life. They wouldn't even farm, the Jains, for fear of hurting worms when they were doing their farming. So it's totally non-violent in any way, shape, or form. This belief is called ahimsa. I wrote down the pronunciation so I didn't forget. Ahimsa. Today, there are 6 million followers of Jainism. They are mostly found in India, and they still practice this form of strict poverty. So, very interesting religion. This would actually have influence on world leaders. Ahimsa has strong influence on Indian culture, and then it ends up having influence on other cultures as well. More modern leaders like Gandhi, who was basically a leader in India, and he used non-violent protests to help free India from British rule. He basically protested the British rule of India in the early 1900s, and even though he was jailed many times, Gandhi always stuck with the non-violent ways. A more modern leader you may have heard of would be Dr. Martin Luther King of the American Civil Rights Movement. He was also a believer in these non-violent forms of protest. The whole Gandhi thing, you've probably heard of him before in pop culture references or even on the news or on television. A fascinating story. If you click on the picture here, I linked it to history.com, and there's a good big article here on Gandhi if you'd like to check that out more. Another thing that might be worth checking out is if you YouTube Jainism, you can kind of get like a 7-minute breakdown, more specific stories about Mahavira. And there's quite a lot of adventures with him before he even became the Ch9, or the conqueror. So that's it for the lesson. Go ahead and hit up the simple sort of assignment on the next page and let me know if you need anything. Alright, have a good one.